This was one of the most difficult workouts I have ever had. Uh, it was a stark contrast to workouts I had earlier in the week. The squats were challenging towards the end of the fourth and fifth sets, but going into these first few, they weren't that bad. 270 moved fairly easily in the beginning, and I still hold that I think I'm probably capable of doing at least 280, 285 for one set of five, but I'm not sure what my max for five sets of five would be. It's probably close to this, maybe 275, maybe a little heavier right now. So this was a very good bellwether workout to kind of figure out where I'm at and what I need to keep doing to improve. So I know I was talking about trying to find the wall and see where that was at, and I think I'm, as I was suspecting on Thursday, fairly close to it. But at least watching these reps right now, my reps are very clean. So I'm very happy with that. There's not much of a compromise in my positioning, and everything is just moving along pretty smoothly. I didn't have any difficulties with feeling warmed up today either. I did one set of 10 for an open bar, a set of 5 at 95, 135, 185, and a set of 5 at 225. And as soon as I hopped into the bar, I just felt good to go. So I avoided whatever I've been feeling most of the time, trying to warm up and go into doing my sets. So third set, the speed starts to slow down just a little bit, but it's nothing too bad. It's still pretty good technically. I'm curious to see what the fourth and fifth sets look like, because those, to me, when I was doing them, just felt like grinds and getting through it. And I was tempted to increase my rest time between them, but I didn't, just because while it felt like I was grinding at times, it still didn't take like a lot out of me in the end. So it still felt very very doable. At least going through here, first couple reps look good. Third's good. So fourth, definitely you can see it starts slowing down. Had to take a second, breathe. And man, you can see that switch where I have to pivot into my quads and just kind of force that up. Even my face at the end, I was just like, wow, that was heavy. And this fifth set, I really had to kind of like psych myself up for it and just say, hey, I'm going to do 5 reps here. I'm just going to blow through it. Caught the squat rack on the way out. I had to stop and wait for everything to come out just to make sure that I wasn't going to fall over or anything like that. Yeah, my depth is very good. So I do like that on these. Man, you start seeing the grind right there. Right at that sticking point. Going for the last rep right here. This one took a lot out of me. But I felt really good. Felt great once I had those finished. And moving on to bench. So this is 5 sets of 5 at 170. This I was pretty confident about. I didn't think I'd have too many issues doing it with how 165 went. And to be honest, I really didn't. The only thing that kind of changed a little bit is that I set my rest time to 2 minutes in between sets just to make sure I'd have enough energy to do it. And then similar to the overhead press from Thursday, between the fourth and fifth sets, I took a 3-minute rest as opposed to a 2-minute, just to give myself a little bit more time to recover, just because I was feeling it. This was very doable for me, but I had to make sure I took the right precautions to actually accomplish it. And I was fairly happy with how it felt. I'm just curious how it looked form-wise. And it's looking good. There were, I think, towards the ends of the third set and the fourth set especially, on the last rep, definitely kind of a grind to get that out. And in that second set right there, the fourth rep, my technique felt a little off, and it looks okay-ish from here. But that caused me to have to readjust before the fifth to make sure I was doing that properly. It wouldn't fail that rep on that, the end of that set. The third set, more or less the same. And, this was a very good bellwether workout of where my strength is at. I'm really hoping that as I continue to push, especially bench, and I think I should be able to accomplish 180 next month. As long as I keep continuing to push this, especially next month, I hope I might be able to do a 2-plate bench at the end of next month, and that would be a huge accomplishment for me. That's something I've been chasing for a long time, and just being able to do it once would be a huge confidence booster for me. It means I'm finally kind of hitting a milestone there. Yeah, this 4th set right here. Going to that last rep to take a huge breath and just grind that out. And it doesn't look that bad on camera. The camera really does kind of misrepresent how you feel internally just because you're not getting that inner monologue. I mean, I'm giving a little bit of it right now, but for the most part, you just see me, hey, take it and just push the weight up and everything moves about the same speed. When I'm doing this, it seems like time slows down, and in my head, I'm like, oh my God, push, 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 push. You have to finish this rep. You will get this done. And that's all happening. It feels like it's taking such a long time to do, but watching it back, everything just kind of happens the exact same pace. That 4th rep right there is a little bit slower. And that 5th rep, a little bit slower again. But even then, when I was doing it, it just felt like it took forever to do, but it looked really clean. So happy with that result. These block pulls. This may be the last month I do them for a little bit. Kind of see how I feel next, coming into next Saturday on my deload. But these took a lot out of me. My lower back erectors are completely fried right now, and I am just exhausted. I feel tired sitting in my chair right now. I feel exhausted, and I can feel my technique having difficulties. And I think it stems from not getting deep enough, especially right there towards the end of these sets, and pulling with a semi-rounded back. And I can see that. I could feel it, and I tried everything I could to try to address it, but, my back was just getting fried. And I probably should have stopped in retrospect because I'm reinforcing bad technique by continuing to do sets poorly, especially at a weight this heavy. But at the same time, at a maximal weight, you should not be too surprised, rather, to see some degradation of technique. But if I'm doing a weight for 5 sets of 5, it's not necessarily maximal. So there's kind of a trade-off there of what you should expect versus what you see and what you feel. And there's just a little bit of roundness in the back, and I'm not too happy with. And so some of the lockouts on some of these were pretty soft. And like that one right there was not good. You'd see a little bit of a grimace when I was doing that, just because of the amount of effort I had to put through to pull that weight up. And I was having to contemplate again whether I wanted to finish this entire workout with these, just because of the amount of load it was putting on me. I mean, 5 sets of 5 at 385 is almost 10,000 pounds of cumulative weight moved in one session. If you include the warm-ups, it's well over 10,000 pounds. And it's not easy. I warmed up with a set of 5 at 135, a set of 5 at 225, set of 5 at 315, and the set of 2 at 340. And it's tough. And maybe I warmed up too much. That one was not good at all. My hips are way too high. You can even see me nod my head in there because I'm not happy with that. That was really rounded. I probably would have been better off calling this instead of trying to keep pushing through this. But I was determined to finish it. There's a little bit of hitching in that one. So this back half of the workout was not as productive as it could have been, in my opinion. It's just not as good as it could have been. Being the devil's advocate with it, you could say that moving these heavier weights is going to induce a CNS adaptation to be able to move heavier weights and make it easier in the long run, which it certainly will. I remember back to when I was struggling to move 335. And then, last week there I was moving 370 like it was nothing. And I'm pulling 380. Don't get me wrong, I'm moving it. Not with the best of technique, but it's being moved. And it's at least being moved more easily than when I first started at 335. So it could be CNS adaptations need to happen just to get used to the amount of load. But even so, I'm not super happy with how that went. Going into the fourth and fifth sets, I really took a lot of care to make sure that I was taking time between each rep to pull these out. You can see the amount of time it's taking me to do each one of these sets is just getting longer and longer as I'm getting more and more tired. And I resolved to try to keep maintaining that 3 minutes of rest period between sets. Look at that hitching right there. That's, I'm just beat. And going into the final set of 5, I decided, hey, I'll take 4 minutes. I'll give myself a little bit more time to refresh myself and be able to move this weight. And it did help in the end. It made that fifth set just a little bit easier. And in retrospect, I probably could have taken a little bit more break time between each set just to kind of relax a little bit. But my back was, my lower back erectors are just so lit up right now that I don't think it would have made much of a difference in the long run. It just kind of would have prolonged the pump I gained in those and just made it more difficult in the long run as I just got more exhausted from doing this over a longer period of time to do it. So it's hard to say what would have been successful. This last set was a grind. That first rep, not good. Second one, better. I usually kind of find that sometimes happens to where, man, I am not liking how these look. That is just, it's just a huge grind to get through that. Going into this last set rep, I really just kind of had to sit here and force myself to pull it. I mean, I'm hitching and everything. I don't even think I got a full lockout right there, but I pulled it, got through it, finished it out. Now I just got to figure out my weights and deload for next week and determine whether or not I want to do block pulls again, or I might switch it up and change them over to trap bar deadlift, or not trap bar deadlifts, over to sumo deadlifts, just because I had a really good response from those, a couple weeks ago. I don't know. I'll kind of play around and see what happens.